Welcome, everyone, to day 3 of the 12 days at TMC. I'm Rich Swerbinsky with the Mortgage Collaborative, here to talk about time management strategies for remote workers. What qualifies me to talk about this? Maybe not much. I don't know. 8 years in this role, I've led a remote team. I've had a chance to learn from the 350 member companies of the Mortgage Collaborative about their successes, challenges with remote work. I am a remote employee. And this is just a topic that has also always been near and dear to my heart as a leader, but also personally. My first year at TMC, I was the only employee. It forced me to really implement very tight time management skills as a one-man show. Years 2 and 3, we had just a couple employees. So I was kind of forced to master some of these strategies that we're going to talk about here in a moment personally. So hopefully everybody can get something out of this today. Any comments, questions? Amy, I may need help. I can't see them in presenter view, but please feel free to pump those into the chat or the Q&A. And this presentation, this recording, we'll get this out to everybody for employees, employers, maybe that want to share it with their staff. But in the spirit of time management, let's go ahead and get into this thing, and let's try to knock this out in 30 minutes. So remote work is clearly here to stay. Productive employees are more productive working remote by every measure. Recruiting and retention, it's just very difficult as a company to say we do not allow remote work in today's day and age. Many people need or want it. And it saves companies money, bricks and mortar, other physical expenses of having offices. And I think companies are just, through technology and just managers getting better at it, getting a handle on their employees' productivity at home, feeling more comfortable in general with remote work. So it's here to stay, certainly in the mortgage industry. And, I would argue more broadly. So developing remote work skills, an art that won't be lost. The types of people that struggle most working remotely. Why are we going through this? Well, maybe you are one of these people. If so, you have additional headwinds to face in becoming a productive employee. If you're an employer, you want to know the type of people that are going to be effective remote workers. One of the best practices we've seen from our lender member network over the last couple of years is those that use personality profile tests to deduce whether or not employees are likely to be good work from home remote employees, or maybe better in the office. It's been a best practice. There's a million different personality profile tests out there. If you're just, on this listening and have never taken a personality profile test before, if you just Google, free personality profile test, there's a million out there that are free. Many of the main ones have a free version. It's really worth doing. You learn a lot about yourself throughout the process. Why is time management so important for remote workers? Two main reasons, really. One is work-life balance. If you're an effective remote worker, you're able to achieve your tasks in a lesser amount of time. That allows you to create that true separation. Doesn't have work always bleeding into the evening or outside of your normal work hours. And productivity, efficient use of your time. It allows for completion of more tasks, better performance. It increases your chance for salary increases, promotion, being a more productive employee. Obviously, companies are actively looking to measure remote work productivity right now. It's, something I talked about earlier. It achieves two great endings. One is you're a more productive, effective employee, and two is you're able to achieve a more true work-life balance. There are a lot of advantages, many would argue, to remote work. No commute, save money, you're at home, you have kids or pets, but there are many inherent challenges to remote worker management. And being a remote worker, the line is constantly blurred, really, between work and leisure, as opposed to going into the office. You get there, you leave, and that's the separation. Your work is always not as tangible and visible as it is in an office context. You're not able to take a report or something you've been working on and walk into the next cubicle or your boss's office. Pressure, there's this kind of shadow pressure to always be available. If it's, on video, on team calls or phone, email, messaging, again, blurring those more normal work hours that were defined by kind of going into the office. Nobody's going to structure your week for you, really. Yet, if you're not meeting your goals and objectives and productivity requirements, your superior or boss may set boundaries on you. So, more autonomy to manage yourself, which again can be a good thing, but not for all. Without direct feedback, it can be hard to ascertain how well you're using your time. Different people need more or less direct feedback in their role. People that crave and need a lot of feedback from their boss. A lot of times you don't get that as much working remotely. And statistically, remote workers work more intensely than they would in an office, but take fewer breaks and work longer hours. Hopefully, in the course of the next 24 minutes here, we can help change that for a lot of people that are viewing this. Because I would argue this last bullet point, self-inflicted wounds, and by just implementing some pretty simple, anybody can do them, best practices that we're about to go through, it can make a dramatic change in your productivity. The amount of work that one human can do in 8 hours of a workday, managing their time effectively and not managing their time effectively, it's astronomical. It's like 3 or 4 hours of actual work to like 9 or 10 hours of actual work. You take that 5 or 6 hours times a 5-day work week, times a 52-week year, times the number of people you have on your staff. If no companies work, if you just work with your staff on being more productive at-home remote workers, the impact could be off the charts. Yet it's something we don't see a lot of companies actively doing. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to try to give you 10 best practices and strategies anybody can implement immediately that cost no money, that can have a direct and immediate impact on your productivity, your work-life balance, and your general professional trajectory. I'll start with what I call the big five, the five I view as the most important. Number one, by far, is rabbit holes. All right, we all have them. For me, it's sports. I'm a sports maniac. The World Cup going on right now, the Browns, Cavs, Indians, Buckeyes. If I allow myself to start looking at box scores and reading columns, next thing you know, it's a half hour later. We all have rabbit holes. For some people, it's social media or online shopping or games you can play online, whatever it is. We all have our de-stressors, our mental break online activities. Avoid them during the workday, at least during the hours you're supposed to be working. Schedule breaks during the day. Schedule time to decompress. That is normal and healthy and something you should do. But blurring that line between work and leisure, it really is the biggest productivity sapper in my mind. And really knowing your rabbit holes and consciously avoiding them is by far the biggest key to effective remote work time management. To-do lists, use them religiously. I am a written to-do list guy. It is a system that has worked for me for my life. I have a yellow legal pad and I write things on there that I need to accomplish, and they don't get crossed off until they're done. I reprioritize the thing every day. It works for me. I get it. It's draconian. My staff makes fun of me. People, you could use your phone. There's a million different online to-do lists you can use, but having something, to me, as stupid as it sounds, it's the crossing off of a task that drives me to get it done. And moving things up that I know I need to get done. I'm a huge believer personally in to-do lists. And again, there's a million different ways to skin this cat. You can go my old school legal pad route. There's a million different to-do list and productivity apps and tools that can do it for you on your phone or on your desktop or on your laptop as well. I would argue a big part of this best practice is reprioritizing your to-do list daily. I do it like at the end of the day. It's okay, I'm done working, time to go make dinner or have a beer or go watch youth sports or whatever it is. But I do that at the end of the day to set myself up for the next day, take stock of what I got done, take stock of what is most important for me to get done the following day. So, and I'll pause to see if any questions or comments came in when I get to the end of the big five. Number 3 of the big five, time block tasks that are menial but necessary. We all have these in our role. There's things you have to do that necessarily maybe you don't love doing. They're the types of tasks that are hardest to get motivated to do. They're the ones that at the end of the day, when you're looking at your to-do list, they often don't get done because they don't mentally stimulate you and they're menial. in nature. What I do with these tasks is I block them off on my calendar. Like when we were growing TMC, I had to spend a lot of time emailing lenders, potential preferred partners, other industry stakeholders, to try to set up calls to explain to them what we were doing. It was a process where I just had to send hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails every week for many years. And at the beginning, it was okay. And then, it started to get where I didn't dread it, but the way I got around that was I would okay, Tuesday, I would block into my calendar 10 to 11 a.m. Like, hey, send emails to community banks that I'm talking to. And I would not check my email. I would stay locked in that hour. And I would, it's also important to add them to your calendar, so you don't get meeting requests that are sent to you that impede with that time. So it's something that is very important. And, just people that I've talked to, it's been a very effective strategy. Whatever it is that you dread doing most, block it off in your calendar and make time to do it. Plan breaks, and most importantly, don't feel bad about taking them. My nature is I'm just one of those people. I want to work. I feel bad inherently not bad about taking them. I'm like, oh man, I could have got this done or that done. That's unhealthy and ultimately leads to less productivity. In addition to working longer hours in office workers, studies show that remote workers take fewer breaks and sick days. And that's a recipe for employee burnout. So it is important to frame your day, right? I'm a get up early guy. I'm working from 6 a.m. to typically 5 p.m., but not all the time throughout there. I'm making time during the day to, if it's exercise or get some things done around the house. It's things, again, that I'm blocking off in my calendar, and I'm sticking to them. Rabbit holes, as stupid as it sounds, on Thursdays, I'm a huge football fan. There's all NFL pools, right? I got to spend 15 minutes putting my picks in and all this other stupid crap I do to feed my NFL addiction. It's something I just have to do every Thursday because the games start on Thursday. I block it off. That's one of my Thursday late morning rabbit hole breaks. So it's important. If you haven't noticed a theme, at least with me, it's accountability through to-do lists, calendars, a lot of different things that you can reference. If you just go into a day I think I need to get this done, and the productivity difference between a worker that is implementing some of these strategies is going to be dramatically different. And the last big one, track your time. This is a practice I have done with so many employees that have worked for me over the years, that they're like, oh, I'm so bogged down. I can't get, I need to delegate more. And I said, listen, hey, just take 1 week and just with the legal pad or online or on your phone, whatever's the easiest way to do it, track your time in 15-minute increments. A lot of times you can use your sent items in your email as well to help you with this. You go back, oh, hey, okay, at 9, if maybe you get caught up in something, you don't have time to do it real time, and you're trying to do it from the end of the day to deduce how you spent your time during a day. The broader point is understanding precisely how you use your time. If you do this, if you track your time for a day or a week or a month, you'll be shocked at the results. You'll be shocked at the rabbit holes. You'll be shocked the amount of time that you spend doing things that don't require that time commitment. And a big part of time management is managing your overall block of time as an employee. If you're going to work 40 or 50 or 55 hours a week, on some level, you should have some understanding of roughly how you're going to use that time. For me, maybe it's 8 to 10 hours a week I have to spend talking with my direct reports, developing them, staff meetings, keeping the company aligned. 8 to 10 hours might be related to TMC San Diego or the 12 days of TMC or tasks I have related to a big event. But I try to always stay conscious of how I'm using my time and not giving too much of it to tasks or people that don't deserve it is the wrong word, but it's kind of the right word. So that is the big 5. Amy, I don't know if anything came in the chat or the Q&A. I went through that
There are, I mean, everybody is commenting. There's tons of comments and engagement in the chat, just really agreeing with what you said, talking
Oh,
about
and actually I
great.
can see the chat here. So let's see what came in
Yeah,
here.
Loretta recommended the book Eat the
Living better
Frog,
by the
which,
calendar. Breaks are so
yeah.
important. Recommended book in the chat, Eat the Frog. I've heard of that book, but have not read it. So, all right, well, let's move on. And again, going back one more time. All right, here we go. Okay, 5 more that are not as obvious, but just as effective. Number 1, play to your strengths. All right, I'm a morning person. I am most effective early in the morning after exercise, wake up, have coffee, like those first couple hours. The phone's not ringing, the email's not blaring yet. And that is when I do the things that are either most important or I need the most motivation to do. This time of the day is a tougher one for me because I get up early. Without the afternoon pot of coffee, this time slot today, I'm excited for this. So I'm full of energy right now. But just your normal Thursday, for me, it makes no sense to save my toughest tasks for the afternoon because I know they won't get my full attention. They won't get my best performance, or it may get left on the cutting floor and not get done today and come over to tomorrow. So when I'm, looking at my to-do list that I've reprioritized, kind of scheduling out my day, I'm trying to attack things early in the morning that are most important or that I need the most motivation to do. On the flip side, I try to save things for the afternoon that are either not as important or don't require me to be ready to run through a brick wall. So play to your strengths, understand your strengths, weaknesses, and adjust your remote work strategy as a result. Avoid time thieves and block distractions. So, inherently, like, I'm a nice person. I'm the type of person that's gonna, like, when I was a lender, every vendor that emailed me, I would get back to them, even if I wasn't interested. I return all phone calls, I return all emails. Like, it's like probably a weakness, the degree to which I do that. So the time thief thing was a big thing for me. Time thieves it's the friend that calls, and even if you start trying to get off the phone in a minute, it's 20 minutes. It's the one that texts you 6 times a day about nothing. You love them, but it's too much. It's the colleague or maybe professional connection that you don't do any business with them, or they don't require the time that they're trying to get from you. And I'm not saying that to be rude or mean. I'm just saying, just looking at it, objectively, is you have to weed those people at least out of your workday. And it's just a text back like, hey, busy with work, I'll call me later tonight. Then they'll never call you if it's somebody you really don't want to call you. Or maybe it's like, hey, listen, the person that's been reaching out to you to do business, like, I always think, like, I'd rather tell somebody, like, listen, just reach back out to me in April or May, just because, being realistic, it's not going to happen till then. Like, it saves you deleting emails, reading emails. The time thieves, identify them and try to weed them out of your workday. Another big one is just general distractions. The 2 biggest ones that nobody thinks about, one is just notifications on your phone or on your laptop. Turn them off unless they're not essential. You could set all these up now too, where you have them. Okay, I have notifications, but not till 5 p.m. And you could literally set it up on your phone, at least, app by app, very customized. It takes a little while to do it, but you have no idea how much time it saves you in the long run. Notifications popping up, you may not think anything of them, but you see it on your phone out of the corner of your eye. You spend 5 seconds thinking about it. And then maybe even if you react to 1 out of every 10 and spend 30 seconds on it, I mean, do the math on how many notifications we all get if they're all turned on. You don't need them. And if there's ones you need, keep them on, but it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. The other big one is emails. I just did this because as I was getting this deck ready, it sunk into me. I have not unsubscribed from emails on my personal, my work account in like a year. And I'm getting so many damn emails. I was until I spent the entire first 3 days of this week, and Cyber Monday was a good one because you get email from everybody. So if you want to do this, just go through your Monday deleted items. Every single company in the world emailed you on Monday. Unsubscribe to all of them. It's like throwing away old clothes that you haven't worn in 2 years. You're not going to wear them anymore. What are you going to miss in the email? You can always resubscribe. Just the process of seeing emails come in again, if you get notifications, it's even worse. Or just even if you're deleting them all, not reading them, one, I'd argue why you subscribe, but two, just that takes time. Little stupid stuff like that, I'm telling you, it adds up so much. It's taken me a lot of time to unsubscribe from all these emails the last 3 days. Today, I've had like no emails in my Gmail, and not as many in my work email either. Stay conscious of meetings and events. So, I use a calendar called Fantastical. It's an app. Many people use Outlook calendar, Google calendar, whatever calendar you use. Fantastical. It costs like $5 a month, but it's awesome. I heavily use my calendar, and I use a written to-do pad. That combination, to me, it just works good. Nothing slips past the cracks. One thing I do though is I write my meetings for the day on the to-do pad in the left margin. It's just what I do. Like, okay, hey, 10 o'clock, I got a call with Stacy. 10:30, we got a team call. 11 o'clock, we got a call with so-and-so, and then 2 o'clock, so I know every time I look at that to-do pad, I know, okay, all right, 10:30, 11, 2. I'm understanding inherently my pockets in the day. I understand on a day like today where I had a 10, a 10:30, an 11, and a 2, that what I get done before 10 is very important, because I know things are going to build up when I'm in meetings between 10 and 11:30, and it's going to occupy some of my time between 11:30 and 2 when I already have things I need to do in that time window. So understanding your day, your meetings, your events, it helps you structure your day. And for me, it helps me be more productive going into a meeting. Also, take some time to prepare for your meetings. Nothing's worse than you go into a meeting with somebody and you get in the meeting and you have to spend the first 15 minutes of the meeting explaining to the person in the meeting what the meeting's about that has been previously communicated. It's just selfish. You're just stealing other people's time. So, when you go into a meeting, at least have a strong understanding of what your role in the meeting is, what you need to know, what you need to be prepared to speak about. And don't try to do that, at 10:31 for a 10:30 meeting. Also, and this goes back to why I do my to-do list at the end of the day every day. Like if I have early morning meetings, I realize that when I'm redoing my to-do list in late afternoon, I'm okay. I got an 8:30 and a 9 o'clock tomorrow. I got to get up a little earlier. If I want to run, I got to get up super early, and I really got to get it together, between 7:30 and 8:30, because there's a couple things I got to get done. So understanding your week, your meetings, your events on a daily basis helps you structure your day and be more productive. Change up your work location. I'm on video a lot. You always see me here in this office. It's because I'm in here when I'm on video. It's good sound and all that, but I am working all over my house during the course of the day. And I've got a spot in my kitchen where I work, another in our family room, and mostly I'm in here, but the change of scenery to me is good. If I just get locked in this office all day, it beats me down a little bit. And it's good to get up, move around. We talked about scheduling and setting breaks. I'm going to talk about exercise in a second here. Changing it up, again, me, like the way I'm hardwired, it's like, no, sit in the office, sit in front of a laptop, like just don't move for 8 hours. You can get the most done. It's taken me some years and some perspective to understand that that's not the best approach, that I can be more productive by not being that way, and by mixing things up. And by changing up my location and doing different things, taking breaks and exercising that keep me invigorated during the course of the day. So, a lot of people like to go on our staff, like to go to Starbucks or Panera a day or two a week. I love it. It's great. I encourage it, like get out of the office, go, get around people, get out of your sweatpants. It all that is good to me. I don't do a lot of that. I like to work from home. Me personally, I just feel like I'm more productive there. But for certain people, getting out of the PJs and getting out, like, it helps them immensely. And I love that and would always encourage that. Make time to exercise. I know it's cliche and like easier said than done. Even for me, like I mean to exercise at least 4 or 5 days a week. Realistically, it's probably 3. There's just those days like, oh crap, I just got too much to do today. I can't do it. I would argue you shouldn't have that mindset. You should make time to exercise and the work will get done. But it's this is a no-brainer. I mean, study after study after study has confirmed that exercise during the day, and it doesn't have to be a ton at all, very minimal, not only improves your well-being, but improvements in time management and productivity. It enhances your mood and your cognitive abilities and processes. And again, you don't have to go out and run 6 miles in 25-degree weather in the morning. It can be walking on a treadmill for 15 or 20 minutes when you're on a team call once or twice a day. It could be walking around your house or walking back and forth for 15 or 20 minutes. It can be doing push-ups or sit-ups in between calls and meetings or whatever exercise it is. There's a million different awesome body weight exercises. You don't need one penny for one Peloton. You don't need nothing. There's free apps where you can schedule 5-10 minute workouts. I've used a bunch of these over the years. I got a Peloton. I try to run in the morning. That sometimes works. It always doesn't. And I also try to schedule just 10-minute little exercise breaks in the day. If it's, on my treadmill in the basement, just, walking on it for 15 minutes while I'm on a call, or if it's, doing 100 push-ups or 100 sit-ups or whatever it is. It's the little things. It makes you feel better. It makes you more productive. And it just improves your mood and your productivity. So that is the end of the session. And we did it somehow in 28 minutes. The last time I did this, I think it took 37 when I promised 30. So maybe I'm getting better at time management.
You do have a question in here, Rich. I don't know if you want to.
But hopefully everybody got a lot out of this today. We'll get this out to everybody. Again, these are things anybody can do. They don't cost 1 penny. Anybody can implement 1 or 10 of these strategies tomorrow. No cost, nothing. Implement 1, see how it works. Be aggressive, implement 5 or 10. They all work. The little things add up. And, the ultimate goal, you'll be a better employee and you'll spend less time outside of work hours working. It's a double win. So there is a question in the chat. Let's see here.
Rich, can you hear me?
Is it in the Whova or the... Oh, any tips for managing many communication channels? Oh, this is a great one. In sales, I have my phone, which is calls and texts, emails and Teams. We've not struggled with this. I would say that, Dawn, the biggest thing for me on this one is the people you communicate with a lot. I think it's important for them to understand how you want to be communicated with. Like our team, I think, Dana, I'm, and it's not the most efficient way, like, Slack and Teams, they're designed to like keep you out of email. I am an email nerd. Like, I don't know what it is. I prefer to communicate by email. So our staff knows if I'm working and not on like vacation or weekend, best way to get a hold of me is email. I'm much more likely to reply to an email than a Teams message. And I say, if it's important, text me, so I think that's the biggest thing to me. is at least the people you communicate with most regularly. Because text can be death by 1,000 paper cuts as well. And I think for me, that's why I try to push some things to email. There's certain people, they want to text everything. To me, it's less efficient to communicate by text because it just takes me and my fat thumbs longer to write text than it does emails. So I would say that's the biggest one. And the other is you have to make breaks too. Like when I'm in email mode, I don't check my phone. I turn my sounds off for my text. So I think that it's important to have the people you communicate with most regularly understand your communication channel preferences. And then when you are using one of those communication channels, try to block out the others. Let's see, anything else here in the chat? I think that was about it. So thank you all very much for your time and attendance. We will get this recording out to everyone. And yeah, feel free to share it with your staff. Obviously, the more people can get out of it, the better. But thanks and have a great rest of the day, everyone.